Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business in typical Price of Business fashion. Here on this Monday morning, we are all over the place in terms of our segments. Talked a little bit about real estate, talked a bit about how the news, not only the business news, but news in general affects you and your finances. This segment, we're going to talk about what you can do to take yourself and your business to the next level with our guest, author, speaker, Bob Natoli. He is the author of the book, True Vision of Success. His website is truevision4, that's the number 4, success.com. Welcome to the program, Bob.
Well, thanks for having me here, Kevin.
Glad to have you. Hey, real quickly, kind of give us your elevator speech.
Well, basically, I believe that everyone has to establish a true vision for success for their life or any part of their life if they really want to succeed. And that begs the question, what is a true vision? And it's simply establishing a genuine, unquestionable, positive, vivid picture in your mind's eye of exactly what you want to do. I mean, how many times, Kevin, have you heard someone say, well, yeah, I'd like to go into business? Well, first of all, we have to talk about the challenges of business, and you have to come up with a good idea. So we have to focus in on that. And then we take people through the 4 challenges of small business. First, of course, is the idea. It has to be a competitive idea, and we want to make sure that just because it isn't being done, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean it needs to be done, right?
Well, yeah, a lot of times things aren't being done because there really isn't much of a demand or a market for it. There's usually a reason why we don't see it, and we need to thoroughly vet that reason.
Absolutely right. So an idea is the first challenge. I call it the 4 challenges of small business. Secondly is, of course, money. Where do we get the money? In these times, it's very difficult to raise startup capital. Very, very difficult. But you have to show persistence when you do that and a really, really good workable business plan and be able to sell it. And I get into that in my book in detail, how to communicate to potential bankers and others who can actually help you along the way. And the third challenge, of course, is the systems. I call it the systems challenge. And that is to make sure as your business grows, everything is operating efficiently, legally, and practically. So you need supervisors, auditors, so systems. And, of course, finally, the 4th challenge, nothing gets done without really, really good personnel. I always say, hire good, train well, motivate often.
There you go. True Vision for Success is the name of the book, and make sure when you look it up online, you put in the number 4 for 4, truevisionforsuccess.com. So, Bob, your background, were you also a personal trainer?
I'm a success coach, Kevin.
Okay.
So that includes if someone wants to get into tip-top shape, I can help them. As you know from reading the material, I have 8 Guinness Strength and Fitness records. I can help people get into business. I sold a company for just short of $100 million. And basically, my contention is that whatever you want to succeed in, these techniques will help you. They cross all barriers.
Yeah, wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, my producer said, that's crazy when he heard about your records, and so that's fantastic. So kind of give us a profile of the kind of businesses you work with.
Well, I've worked with people that are trying to start up, say, lawn and garden businesses, people who are trying to establish themselves as personal consultants or fitness consultants, individuals who basically, some of them want to be professionals. They don't know how to go about setting up a law office or a doctor's office. It's very interesting when you talk to people, just because somebody knows how to do one particular thing, like a shoemaker. He's great at making shoes, but he doesn't really know where or how to set up that shoe business. So I come in there.
Very, very good. Again, talking to Bob Natoli, again, he's a success coach and helping businesses. Are you typically dealing a lot with solopreneurs, or do you work a lot with C-level people for companies?
Well, I work with everyone. I've worked with people who wanted to lose weight. I worked with one woman who was over 300 pounds and obviously very unhappy. And by the time we were done, she lost almost 100 pounds. And she's certainly a tall woman anyway, so when she lost that 100 pounds, she looked great. And it's all about establishing a true vision for success. You know, a lot of people, Kevin, when they start out, they really don't believe it. They don't see it in the theater of their mind, that success that they need to see. Now, if you wanted to start out, whether you want to start a business, get out of debt, lose weight, I don't care what your particular vision is. If you start out thinking, well, I don't think I can do this, guess what? You're not going to be able to do it most of the time.
Yeah.
You've got to start out with that true vision of success, living it, breathing it, believing it, seeing it in detail, and then you go about doing it with my vision steps that I lay out in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. There's the old Solomon passage of, as a person thinketh, so is he or she. And if you think you're not going to be successful, you've already made that decision before you even did it.
Absolutely right. Weight loss is huge. I get a lot of people coming to me saying, I really need to get into shape. I need to lose this 30, 40, 50 pounds. Well, what happened before? First, I want to know, why have you failed? And it's okay to fail as long as people realize you are not the failure. Okay? You are not the failure. You can own it without becoming it, because that's why people don't want to continue on, because they start to feel like that failure, but that's not it. They just realized one more way not to succeed. Okay? It's how you look at it. It's your perspective. So I start out trying to understand what happened along the way. Well, what happened is they started out not believing they could do it. And sure enough, they were right. They couldn't do it. So then they start again, fail, again, a third time fail, a fourth time fail, and now what? They start to think, well, I'm just lying to myself. I can't really do this. They don't believe in themselves any longer.
Yeah, great story, of course, about Thomas Edison, who, according to Time magazine, was ranked the number one most influential person of the last millennia. He attempted over 10,000 times to make a light bulb and failed. And his whole perspective was, I've discovered over 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. And so I think that's the exact attitude we need no matter what it is we're doing.
I think you're absolutely right. But again, how can someone continue on 10,001 times, right, to get that success if they don't believe they can? Now, when I was building my rental company, which is the largest independently owned rental company in the country before I sold it, I had to go to 33 banks before I got a yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that is, that's easy to hear for someone, but that is brutal going in. The first one, the second one, the third one, the 21st one, the 22nd one. I went home one evening and my wife said, "Did you get the loan?" I said, "No." She goes, "Why are you smiling?" Because I said, "I'm going to 100 banks. Do you understand that? I'm going in and out of the door of 100 banks before I even consider doing something else."
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So that was my vision. And if you can establish a real strong, true vision for success, you're going to succeed.
Yeah, so in other words, plan in advance for some barriers along the way. Just mentally, emotionally, plan for some barriers.
Yes, because there's no straight line to success. It never happens that way, ever. And if in sport, there's injury, there's loss, there's defeat, what do? Just like a round of golf. Well, the second hole didn't treat me very well. Well, guess what? There's the third, the fourth, the fifth, and on and on. Leave that behind and go forward. You're going to fail in life. You always fail before you succeed, and I always say everything is difficult before it becomes easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Think of how many times Colonel Sanders fell. Colonel Sanders, by the way, didn't even go into business until he was 65 years old, and he saw his first Social Security check and said, "What the heck? How am I going to make a living off of this?" And so he took his recipe from place to place to place, and he got rejected so many times before he finally worked out a deal where he was able to get things going. And so that is the difference between those who succeed and those who fail, is that those who succeed know that there's going to be failure on the road to success.
Right. Rejection is all part of success. Absolutely right.
All right. Absolutely. Bob, thanks so much for being with us. We have just officially ran out of time. Sometime I get you back on to talk about your TV series. That looks kind of intriguing that you have online. I love those online TV programs. Is that ongoing?
Yes, it is.
Awesome. We need to talk about that in a future time. But again, Bob Natoli, he's with True Vision for Success. It's exactly like it sounds, except for 4 is the number 4. TrueVisionForSuccess.com. And again, Bob, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. I'd love to encourage everyone to stop by the True Vision Facebook page. We're running a contest there. And, of course, to buy my book at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or on my website. Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks, bud. All right, when we come back, we're going to have more for you. Do want to remind you the best content here shows up over there, including my latest commentary on how the markets have gone wild at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook and on Twitter.